And one of the biggest names out there on the defensive side of the ball in the class of 2023 is DJ's younger brother, Matayo Uiagalelei, who is considering two Pac-12 schools, Oregon and USC. And Jaden Wayne just left the West Coast. We've talked about the West Coast or the Pac-12 schools. Got to try and keep that big-time talent home. Seems like that relationship with Mario Cristobal and the staff was just really, really good there. So if you can confirm that assumption of mine, by all means, go for it. And then where's Mateo at?
Yeah, Jaden's first offer was from Mario at Oregon. So yeah, naturally, 2 years later, to take that talent to Miami, as they say, was something that was a real possibility from the moment Cristobal took that job. Still had to go head to head with Bama and LSU and Oregon and some others, but obviously Miami was able to do it, and their recruiting momentum is apexing right now. They just got another big time linebacker over Alabama before we recorded this on Tuesday. So yeah, well with his bread and butter in recruiting. With Matayo Uiagalelei, yeah, I think there's a lot more staying power in the Pac-12. With Jaden, it was just Oregon, right? Initially, we're like USC, Washington, Oregon is kind of the trio, and then slowly it just became Oregon. I think with Matayo, I think both USC and Oregon will remain in the mix all the way until the end. But it's a similar battle in terms of the profile. You got to beat Ohio State. You got to beat Alabama. You might have to beat a Clemson or a Georgia in that conversation as well. So you've got to go legitimately and win a head-to-head battle. And I think, ironically enough, defensively, I think Oregon is just in better position than USC to do so, all things even. We have seen Dan Lanning and that coaching staff go head-to-head and win the biggest non-Arch Manning battle in the country for Dante Moore just on Friday. So we've already seen that ability to go in and win, obviously following up the Josh Connerleys and some of the other big verbal commitments and signatures that Lanning's new staff has put together. That said, USC is the local school. This is a St. John Bosco recruit who is incredibly familiar with the Trojan program. It is the one he grew up rooting for. He's got a musical prowess already. So some of the NIL opportunities in Los Angeles relative to that side of the conversation is going to appeal to him and his family. His father also has experience in the music industry. That could be a big time advantage for Lincoln Riley and company. But again, defensively, USC hasn't in this class won that national battle. And I think that's what's going to be intriguing here, because it does seem like not only will those Midwest and Southeastern powers continue to recruit Mateo, it looks like his recruitment could stretch out a little bit. So I do think there's going to be some long-standing pitches here to the Uiagalelei family. So I'm curious to see if both Pac-12 programs have that type of staying power, because we know those other programs we talked about have won some very long-standing battles for national blue chip type recruits. If he does change his timeline, probably even better news for the possibility of Mateo staying in that Pac-12 footprint. But really, you can start to build a case for at least four of these programs. Clemson, obviously, the brother connection. Ohio State has been extremely strong, not only with their Polynesian connections, believe it or not, but of course, defensive line recruiting. I mean, Larry Johnson is one of the best in the business. The Bosa brothers, Chase Young, Zach Harrison will be a first rounder this year. The list goes on. And then, of course, in that Pac-12 footprint, we talked about USC, the childhood favorite, the music situation, the local angle as well. And then Oregon has been synonymous with the immersion of Polynesian football talent. And that's something that both Mateo and his father have acknowledged with the current coaching staff in Eugene, Tosh Lupoy, some of those assistant coaches that have been there and done that on the West Coast at a very, very high level. So it's an intriguing and fascinating recruitment. It's really hard to project a front runner at this stage. Any one of those four has a kind of sneaky good argument to land him. And I think that's part of the reason why it's taken him so long to make a decision.
Did you say musical prowess? Like what sort of music are we talking about here? What does he do?
He's got a musical moniker. Young Concrete is his producer tag. He produces music, hip hop music. His dad was working for several hip hop acts, I believe, in the 90s and early 2000s as a big bodyguard. So there's a legitimate interest and desire to further that. He's not a big social media presence, but his father is, and his
Yeah,
father
I was
will
gonna say.
put out some samples of music, and it's quite sophisticated. There's some complexities there. So Matayo's not only a great football and basketball player, but he's got some legitimate engineering background in his musical prowess already as a high schooler. And I know USC, I believe there's an affiliation with Dr. Dre to a degree. I mean, so there's a legitimate advantage academically for USC over all the other programs. But again, it just comes down to what is going to matter the most with him. And that's why he's maybe the most fascinating non-quarterback left to make a decision in this entire country with the class of 2023.